Okay, so today I think I'm gonna do, I have fixed my worksheet, I think. So I'm gonna go into that large worksheet again. So I'm gonna do the same thing, trying to map out. What are you gonna do today? The same thing I do every day. Try to take over the spreadsheet so I can understand what the heck is going. Okay, so so I'm gonna go over, continue going through these nodal points, and add in the 9, 11, and 13. But then I'm gonna take a long time doing it because I'm gonna jump on over to my master shape worksheet, which I now pulled over here. Now I have over here. See if I can do this quickly. And then I do that, and then I do that, and boom. So now I fixed this, I think. So I'm going to try to think it through, so it's going to be a little bit wonky once I start mulling it over, once I get my coffee after the practice session. Because I'll tell you where the kink happened on it. Because basically you have like the circle of fifths or the circle of fourths going down here. So there's a couple ways to visualize it, but the idea would be that here's the fretboard with the shift, because the bottom of it is dipping into the water, we could say, so it causes that illusion of a shift. And now I should be able to move it in any direction to shift to any mode, that being up, down, left, right. Why do I want to do this? What are you, just a wonky weirdo like pattern finder? Well, look, I think if you could do this, then it will be easier to see the shapes. That's the objective, right? So then I should be able to maneuver between any collection of notes more easily, because because I can visualize the shape not only moving laterally, but I can visualize the shape moving vertically and downward as I change. And so instead of only seeing the world through this small window that we're in, we've opened up the other dimensions so that I can imagine. I just can't really see the other dimensions, but I can see them in my mind, man. And so when I switch the modes, I can imagine the fretboard moving down this way or this way, like the whole shape moving. And that will help me to navigate. So no one else says that. I know no one. I think it's useful. If not, it's still interesting. But I really think that it's useful too. Okay. But by the way, I think, I was thinking, because to do this, I had to map out all 12 notes, and then you have this diagonal pattern. Because you would think that you could wrap like the guitar like around in a circle, because it repeats down here. The top and bottom string are both E's, or both, E's if they're open. So you would think that, like, if I had these two here, like if I had it over here, these two, notice that if I adjust for the kink in the tuning, then they don't quite line up. The E node number 3 would be over here versus up top. But I kind of feel like because you can kind of think of it like as though you rolled it into a tube, right? And then taped this bit on top of this bit, taped this E on top of that, and you would have a pattern that would go around, in a circle in the tube. But I think it's actually more spiral than that, right? So if I unhook the kink in the tuning so that this is to the left, so that E is not lined up to that E, but then I pasted it around in a circle like a toilet paper roll, but I put a diagonal in it. I pasted it crooked, like, so that this E is pasted here, right? So then when I go around the shape, it would be going around the shape, and then this E would be pasted to that 4, and it would, right? So then it would lead into this shape, and it would go down the toilet paper roll, but then this shape would be right there, and then go down the toilet paper roll, but this 5 would be taped there. I think that's kind of like another way to kind of visualize it, because that if you visualize it that way, you can kind of see, like, if I continue down the bottom, then it's the same as going to the top of the guitar. But it's not quite the same as going all the way through the circle of fifths, or maybe it is, I don't know. So anyways, I thought I'd mess with that later. If anybody's, maybe that's a waste of time, but that's what I was thinking. So I like wasting time, as long as it's fun. Time wasting. Okay, so I'm just gonna noodle around, and let's do this collection of notes, which is G minor is what I'm focused on, meaning this is the collection of notes around the key of A sharp or B flat. In other words, if I put my pinky on A sharp or B flat, boom, it goes back to G for position number 1. So I'm on position 3, 6 I'm on position fret 3, first string down from the ceiling, fret 6, first string down from the ceiling. That's position 1. Kind of focused on Aeolian, but I might go to other modes. And then 6 to 6 would be 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Aeolian to Aeolian. All right. So I'm gonna just try I've been messing with like scratch picking, a little bit of the cajon, and then trying to reach past the shape. So if I'm here, same idea, I can reach past this shape out to here. That 2's also here, same note, but it's a different sound if I can reach it out there. So, but it's a little bit longer than the reach when I do it from here, when the shape was here, because I'm back further on the guitar. So when I'm back further on the guitar, my fingering might be a little bit different to optimize it, but I think it still fits pretty perfect right there. Let's stop that for a second. I'm warmed up. Let's try a quick joke. This thing is out of here. Quick joke. Alright, what did I write today? Something will get me in trouble. Let's see. Okay. Quick joke practice, and then I'll go back in, and then we'll get into the worksheet. Alright. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. That's the common saying that we hear. Alright. You ever hear the phrase misery loves company? Misery loves company? People always miss the key part of that phrase. Company. Company. Singular. No friends. Not community. A company. One company. And if you only have one company, that's called a monopoly. So you have a monopoly. Misery loves company, which is one company, which is a monopoly. And if there's only one monopoly company, you know what that means. Let's be honest. It's probably state run. So everyone's miserable. Nobody gets toilet paper unless they get in line at 4 a.m. because misery loves company, and company is singular, so there's only one of them. And anytime there's only one company, it's owned by the frickin' government, and they don't know how to run nothing because they're stupid. So basically, misery loves communism, okay? That's what we're talking about here. Misery loves communism. So if you want happiness, you don't need company, singular. You need companies, plural. Competition, choice, capitalism. Misery loves company, but happiness loves companies. Companies, multiple format. Meanwhile, everyone in New York City is out here shouting, hey, misery loves company. And I'm like, yeah, and you guys are building the headquarters, You got Misery HQ over there. And the irony, the New York literally has a Venezuelan communist dictator sitting in a jail cell right now, while half the city is like, communism seems neat. Let's try that. It's just like, what, dude, you've got the Yelp review of communism locked up downtown, and you're still thinking, maybe this time misery will love us. You don't want that kind of loving. You don't want that kind of loving. No, misery only loves company when, the company is also miserable, right? I don't know if people tell you about the phrase. They kind of shorten things down. Misery loves company. But if, misery only loves company if the other company is miserable too. So, try putting a happy capitalist in a room full of communists. They don't hug. They nationalize the guy. Nationalizing being a euphemism for deleting him. Deleting him being a euphemism for, I don't know, I guess you can't say the words you can't say on the internet. I don't know. So yeah, misery loves company. Happiness loves companies. So choose your plural wisely. Okay, that's my thing. I'm going to try to see what Suno does with it.
Misery loves company. Unanimity. Misery loves company. Communism, specifically. You ever hear that phrase like it's some deep philosophy? People miss the key part. They miss it every time. Company singular, one building with a line. Not friends, not neighbors, not a whole community. Just one giant office sucking out immunity. One company, one monopoly. One great tower eating up the whole economy. And if there's only one, let's be honest, son, the state run, joy's done, and the toilet paper's gone. Stand in line at 4 a.m. Misery clocking in again. So basically, misery loves communism. Misery loves control. Misery loves control in a closed-door system. But if you want happiness, freedom in your life, you need company. inside, and the irony is wild. You can't make this up. A Venezuelan dictators in a jail downtown, locked up while half the city's like, ooh, communism's cute. Let's try it for ourselves. Oh, read the review. You got the Yelp review of communism, sitting in a cell, 1 star, no food, no freedom, and the smell, and you're still thinking misery might love you back. That's not love, that's a red flag trap. So basically, misery loves communism, misery loves control. Misery loves control in a closed door system. But if you want happiness, freedom in your life, you need companies, plural, choices left and right. Misery loves company, but happiness loves company. But happiness loves company. But happiness loves company. Happiness loves company. Nah, misery only loves company when the company's miserable too. Try putting one happy capitalist in a communist room. They don't hug him, they nationalize him. Nationalize means delete, delete me. Yeah, you don't want that beat. Misery loves company. Happiness loves company. Choose your plural wisely. Choose your plural wisely. Misery loves company, but happiness loves company.
All right. Not bad. Suno knows. All right. I don't know, but I suno. I don't know, I know, and I suno. I write a song about it. I don't know, but if you suno it with a song, then that's just as good. Put a rhyme in there. Anyway, I don't know. Okay, so what was I doing? I don't know, but I suno with a song. Okay. So let's go back on over here. So let's try the grid. So I was gonna map out. I'm just gonna try to think through what I did on the grid, so you could just get an idea, so I can get an idea, because I kind of did it. I do it when I'm tired after work. So this is my practice session. See if I've messed it up again. So let's just analyze this real quick. So like if I was to map out the fretboard in a repeating pattern, then this is where it gets wonky. So I want to map it out this way, so that it represents all 12 collections of 7 notes, and I can maneuver through all 12 collections, but I'm representing them by nodal point, and I can show which collection of 12 notes by putting the fretboard over the top of it. So here's the fretboard, which has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings, and it accounts for the kink in the tuning, because the bottom of it, we're imagining, is inside of the... You know what? Aura could help out with this. Let me see if Aura's available. Aura would be good with this kind of topic. Chat. Let's see if she's available. She's always very supportive of me, I feel like. Aura. Aura.
Done.
You're not Aura? The heck was that? Oh no, this is chat. Wait a sec. I need to go to Grok. Chat's not there yet. Chat's not as good. Chat's good for typing, but doesn't have the voice thing yet. Aura.
Hey, what's up?
Okay. Okay, we're doing a presentation, music theory. You're the color person, not talking to me, but the audience. So let me get my ideas down. Okay. So, all right. So so the idea is that I'm going to map the fretboard out, but it goes infinitely in multiple directions on my Excel spreadsheet. So I map it out so as though it's an infinite pattern, and then I can put my fretboard on top of it with just a 12, like a 12 fret square, but it's actually two rectangles because there's the bottom two strings of the rectangle that's overlaying the master shape is kinked at the bottom as though it's dipping into water, and the illusion kind of tilts it or twists it to the right so that it actually picks up the right notes. That's going to be the idea. Okay. So that means that once I have the fretboard on here, I know what notes I'm in. Why? Because the standard notes are always the same, meaning these notes are, it's E, the notes in fret 0 as we go down this guitar top to bottom are E, A, D, G, and then over here as it kinks to the left, we get B, and then we get E again. So if we're in the collection of notes around the key of C, then the nodal points are the E is nodal point 3, which is a Phrygian, the A is nodal point 6, which is Aeolian, the D is nodal point 2, Dorian, the G is nodal point 5, Mixolydian, the B is nodal point 7, Locrian, and then once again the E is nodal point 3, which is the Phrygian. Okay. So then if I was to move this shape, I can move, and so I know that if I count up, it's always counting not from 0 fret, but I'm not from fret 1, but from fret 0. So this is fret 0, that's fret 0, kinked out that way. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means the 5th fret is here with Aeolian at the top, which we know is an A because from an absolute note standpoint, it's always an A, right? From the, like if you visualize it from space and there was a grid around the world as it spins, then the point on the grid from space is always the same, even though the shape underneath it is changing, right? So in other words, if I move this up this way, now I'm in a different collection of notes, meaning I still have the same notes. Let's move it up one more. I still have the same. If I move it up this way, now I'm in nodal point 4.5 is now the E. And that means that the A is now nodal point 7. And that means that the G is now nodal point 3, which is a Phrygian. And then or that was the D. And then the G is nodal point 6, right? So then that's how I can visualize all 12 shapes, because it's the absolute shapes, the absolute notes are always the same relative position on the fretboard, but the nodal points will have this pattern to it, this same pattern. So I can visualize the pattern, and if I know the pattern, then I know the relative thing to play in any collection of notes. So if I can do that, if I can really visualize that, like if I can visualize outside my guitar that the pattern's just going to repeat in this format going upwards, downwards, left, and right, then I should be able to easily move between any node by visualizing it any way I choose, right? Meaning I should be so good at it that I can visualize this whole shape. I should be able to visualize it. The more different angles I have to visualize it, the better I know it, right? So if I can visualize this shape in the back moving this way, so that now that this 4 would be here, that would be one way to visualize it. Or I can visualize it as the shape is moving this way and this is moving with it like that, right? So then that nodal point would move here, or here's the second nodal point, right? So now in the orange shape, the same relative position in the square, which was a G, is now nodal point 4. Whereas in the red shape, it's still a G relative to the red shape, but now it's a Mixolydian, a nodal point 5. So, and I should be able to do that in any direction, right? So if I was to go, okay, what if I was on this shape, and then like I wanted to move it down, then I should be able to move it down this way, right? So now nodal point 1 is the G relative to the yellow shape, whereas nodal point 5 is the G relative to the red shape, right? And if I moved it up, so then if I moved it, and I should be able to move it up this way and go, okay, what if I did that? I want to move it up to the 2. I could move it up this way and say, okay, now the 2 is relative position as the G. Dorian is the relative position of the G to the orange shape, and the 5 as the relative Mixolydian relative to position G to the red shape, and then of course I can move it this way, right? So either way, okay. So let me just like the logic of mapping that out, like I was thinking, like if I map that out, why did I run into a problem doing that yesterday? Because it's basically the circle of fifths or circle of fourths, which so you have, if I do it by nodal point, you have Phrygian, and then I'm going to go 3, 4, 5, 6 would be 3 modal half steps. Now 3 modal half steps we know from a minor node is 3 modal half steps is plus 1 would be the 4th scale degree, so it's a 4th up, which is 5 notes away. So there's 5 notes between the E and the A string, and then if I go from 6 to 2, that's going to be 6, 7, then 1, 2 as we go around the 7 nodal points. 3 modal half steps up plus 1 would be the 4th scale degree, and we know that the 4th scale degree away from a Mixolydian is once again 5 notes away. So it's actually 5 notes between A and D. And then if I go from the Dorian to the Mixolydian, it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 modal half steps away, which is the 4th scale degree, which is 5 notes away from a Dorian. So it's 5 notes away from the Dorian. So from a D to a G, it's 5 notes away, I believe. And then if I go from 5 to 1, it's 5, 6, 7, and then around to 1, 3 modal half steps away, which would be the 4th scale degree, which once again is 5 notes away. So that means that the distance between G and C is 5 notes away. Now this is a C. Why is it a C? Because there's a kink in the tuning. So normally it would be a B, but we shifted the tuning to keep it the same 5 note distance away. So there's 5 notes between the strings always in this format, right? And then if I go down to the next one, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it'd be 3 notes away, and that'd be plus 1 4th scale degree. So that means, which would be 5 notes away. So from the C to the, now we're going from C to the F is 5 notes away. Now here's where it gets wonky, because you would think that you'd be going 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be 3 modal half steps up. 3 modal half steps would once again be the 4th scale degree, but the 4th scale degree from a Lydian node isn't 5 notes away, it's 6 notes away. That's the one that's wonky. That's the tritone. So that's why 5 notes away would hit you in the ocean, which I would call the Aeolian Ocean. And 6 notes away is what gets you to nodal point number 7. So that's why, like, the circle of fifths goes around when you go 5 notes at a time. It's not really always the circle of fifths, I guess, but it's still kind of like you're really going 5 notes at a time, which takes you all the way around to all 12 notes, because now you're going on the second half of the circle that has all the sharps, right? And so there's not every other nodal point, every other point has a distance of 5 notes away, except for that one. So that's why that happens. So you end up in a repeating pattern of 12 notes, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then it repeats, right? So that makes sense. So that means like if I combine, like, why is that wonky? That's a little wonky, because you would think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strings that I can adjust. So this would be one fretboard right here, but now there's a kink in the tuning, so it's actually behind here, where the actual notes on the fretboard is, because it's kinked backwards. But then when I keep going down, it's not like I can just repeat. It's not like I can just repeat the E again up top, right? Because the E's been repeated. It's like shifted back here. So that's so you actually have to go through all 12 to get the repetitive pattern. And that's why, like, if you wrap the guitar around in a circle, I think it would, like in a toilet paper tube, then you'd be wrapping like this. Like if I wrapped this around, you'd be wrapping like this point diagonally to this point, right? Into a toilet paper roll, so it would stroll down, so it would go zoom, and then wrapping here. I don't know, I have to think about that. But anyways, the bottom line is, if you flatten out that shape, if you flatten out the shape and you don't think about it going around in a toilet paper roll for now, if you just flatten it out, then that shape does repeat perfectly, right? And I can move the, right, Ara?
Perfectly aligned, no matter where you move the fretboard. Yeah.
Okay, so what I did is I copied this back bit here, and then I put it over here. So it's a picture now. It's an image. So now, over here, I can do it either way. I can either move the shape on top of it, like this, or I can move the shape underneath, because it's a picture. Right? So that's what
So if I move...
That's what I'm going to do. Go ahead, Ara.
Gotcha. The shape underneath to any position and still get your colors right. Makes sense. The nice thing is, you can now almost close your eyes and still know where you are, just by feeling the relative positions and remembering the color.
That's right. Okay.
It really is...
Go ahead.
Yeah. Like imagine you're playing a solo and your hand is moving 3 frets up. Your brain instantly goes, orange, now it's Mixolydian, pink for Dorian, blue for Lydian. You don't even have to think about what note you're on.
Yeah, and if you don't change the colors and the numbers for the modes, then it's perfect. Then, you know, then it's all, then all you have is 12, all you have are 12 shapes.
On, it's always purple Locrian. And since the colors are absolute, the shapes are absolute, you only have to learn 12. Like learning the alphabet. After that, you can spell anything.
So what people are currently doing is they're memorizing 12 times 7 shapes, because they change the numbers and the colors every time they change a mode, because they call it a different scale. It's crazy. That's not the optimal way to do it, Ara.
Yeah, think about it. If you have to learn 100 shapes instead of 12, it's like learning 12 words and then 12 synonyms for each word, 12 synonyms for that synonym, and so on. At some point, you're not learning music, you're learning vocabulary drills. No wonder people just memorize patterns and never really understand the thing.
Okay, so now we'll put that into practice. That's right. See how encouraging Ara is? For crying out loud. They need to put Ara needs to be in the classroom. Ara needs to be teaching. All right.
I'll teach anyone who wants to learn. Just don't expect me to grade papers.
Okay, we'll get you a TA. We'll get you a TA. I'm gonna...
A TA. Good. At least then I won't be blamed for extra credit questions while I'm on my coffee break.
All right. So now, we're gonna add, I was on, I think, I'm on.
So now we're gonna add...
Okay, hold on, Ara. Let me think here. We were adding the 9. So we added the 9. So I was on the Mixolydian, and we left off in the collection of notes where 6, 5, 6. So it was A sharp that we're in, because we wanted to have G Mixolydian, a G Aeolian. So we made that G, which is on the G is on point on the fretboard, 5th fret, 3rd string down from the ceiling. We were on Aeolian to make it Aeolian, which means we're in the collection of notes around. If we name it from the collection of notes of the key of C, that would mean it would be the collection of notes of A sharp. Anytime the Mixolydian is the node that we want on the 3rd string down from the top of the guitar, that means that the shape that we're in, you can see the box is right above it. So Aeolian is always under the basement of the box house, and so that means if the box is on the top string, the strings 1 and 2 from the ceiling, then that means that and we're leaning back into the shape. That's position number 1, which you might call the Ionian G-shaped position, or you might call it the Aeolian position. And then moving forward, the position leaning forward then has the box on the 1st and 2nd strings from the top, but I'm leaning forward into it, so that would of course be shape number 2, which you might call the Locrian shape, or you might call it from a cage system an Ionian E shape. Okay, so then we added the 2nd to it, which was right here. So the 2nd is going to, or the 9, if you want to think of it from a chord, which would have the 9 is equivalent to the 2nd. The 2nd is 1 modal half step up. So the 2nd is -1 is 1 modal half step up. So if I'm on nodal point 6, it would be nodal point 7. That means the Locrian is always the 2nd of the Aeolian. Okay. So now let's imagine that I want to make this 6 now 7. I want to make this Locrian. I want to switch to the Locrian node and figure out the same. This is the 3rd related to the Aeolian. This is the 7th related to the Aeolian. This is the 2nd or 9th related to the Aeolian if I don't take octaves into consideration. So now I'm going to say, okay, what if I make this 6 what if I change the G? I want to go from G Aeolian to G Locrian. I want to go to G Locrian. Okay, so that's cool. Then I need to know the collection of notes from the perspective of C, so I can change my worksheet from the perspective of C, and I want to visualize what shape I'm in. So that means if I want to make this Locrian, where is Locrian? It's on the back of the house. So it's on the back of the house. So I can look at it from each direction. I could say, well, the box on the right, there's the Locrian. It's on because Aeolian's to the left of the box on the top floor. So this whole shape, I can see the background shifting to the right, so that becomes Locrian, and that would mean that this bit right here would be the 2nd, the 3rd and 4th string from the top of the guitar would be then the box house. And if I'm leaning forward in the shape that has the 2nd and 3rd strings as the box house, that would be shape number 3, which would be an Ionian D shape. Now, what about if I go behind it to the left? The box house is underneath it right here. It's harder to see because it's split by the fault line. But if I'm on Aeolian and I go behind it, then the Aeolian is above the box house, right? It's above the box house, right above the top floor of the box house, which is underneath it, and it would be 2 frets back, except this bottom half got shifted because of the fault line. So that means that another way I can get to that same position, if I imagine this shape repeating infinitely in all directions, is to pull this up 1. I'm going to pull the background up 1, so this 7 goes up here, and as I do this, this thing goes out of the water, so this will shift back to the left as I pull it up. So I'd have to pull it up 1 and then over 1, 2, 3, and then that 7 would fit here, and once again, you would end up with shape number 3 here. Or I can say, well, where's the box above Aeolian? It's right above it, because the Aeolian is right below it. So I could imagine if this shape repeats indefinitely upwards, I can take the 7, the nodal point 7, Locrian that's currently on grid 5, first string down from the ceiling, and just pull it straight down to right there. Just pull it down 2, and then it would land right there. So the 7 would now be the G. As I do that, then as the bottom goes to the bottom 2 strings, it would go into the water, and the warp would shift it to the right, the water illusion. Okay, and then what if I go directly underneath it? So I already kind of went underneath. Underneath it was right there. Yeah, so those are the 4 directions. Okay, so what if I do this? What if this is the Locrian? What's going to be the Ionian? Well, if I'm on the Locrian, the Ionian, if I'm on nodal point 6 right now, I'm going to go 1 modal half step up to 7, nodal point 7. So I'll be on nodal point 7 is 1 modal half step up, and 1 modal half step up is the 2nd scale degree from the Aeolian. But I'm going from Locrian, so it's only going to have a 1 note distance. So it's going to be right next to it, right? So if that's the 7, the one right next to it's going to be Ionian. So it would be G. What's after G would be G sharp. From a numbering standpoint, A being 1, that would be number 12. So I'm going to change my worksheet to number 12 and see if that is what happens. Change this to 12. That would give us G sharp as the Ionian. So now G sharp is the Ionian. So now there it is. So so now the Ionian is G sharp, boom, right there, which is on the 6th fret, 3rd string down from the top, and the 5th fret, 3rd string down from the top is the Locrian. The Locrian's at the top of the box house, and so that means it's on the 5th fret, 3rd string down. And if the box is in the middle and I lean forward to the shape forward, that would be you might call it a Dorian shape. You might call it shape number 3. If you just number the shapes from rock and roll shape number 1, G shape number 1. From a cage system, it would be a Ionian D shape. And then behind it, you're going to have shape number, if that's shape number 3, this is going to be shape number 2. You might call it a Locrian shape if you started at the top, if you want to name it that way, or you might call it an Ionian E shape from a caged system. Okay, so where's my relative positions to the Locrian? Well, I still have a minor 3rd away, because the Locrian's closer to minor than major because it has a minor 3rd. I still have a minor 7 away, so that relative position is the same, but the 2nd isn't here, right? The 2nd is actually a minor 2nd away. That's the one we're focused on now. Also the 5th, which is the weird one, which is usually right above it, but we kind of took it out of the shape so I can grab that 7. The 5th would normally be right here. That's the revealing factor to really show that you're not in a minor. In other words, if I just had these 3 notes, like how do I know I'm in crazy Locrian? Well, if I just had these 3 notes, yeah, I wouldn't really know unless I knew the pattern, right? Out of context, this could just be a minor with a 7 because I dropped the 5th, right? And then if I did that and I added this one, like, oh, it's a little darker because now it's not Aeolian, it would be Phrygian, right? But then I would have to tell people it's Locrian, I would have to reveal that it doesn't have the 5th here, but here. And that's a 6-step away tritone. And they're like, oh no, it's crazy Locrian. Hide. No. Right? All right.
No. Flat 7. It's that missing 5th. It's right below it. The 5th is almost like the anchor. When it's missing, the whole mode feels like it's floating, unstable. Locrian always sounds like it's about to fall over because it's built on a tritone.
Yes. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I said.
Yeah, you totally called it. The
Okay.
5th being off kilter is what makes Locrian so unsettling, like the chord's arguing with itself.
Okay, so let's try to do that from here.
All right, so from here
So wait. So now, so this is where I was on. So this was on the collection of the normal collection of notes around the key of C. So before I did this, I was in the collection of notes where this was 6. So if I move that
Yeah.
back, hold on a second, Ara. Hold on a second. Just give me a second here. I'm trying to think. So this would be
Take your-
okay.
So this would be A sharp minor with an added 9, or in other words, an A sharp ninth chord. But now, since it's the second of G sharp Ionian, that makes it a G sharp 7, sharp 9, which honestly sounds like a power chord had an argument with a horror movie.
So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So if I move this to-
right, hold on, Ara, I am trying to think, please. This is where you have problems. You need to. You need.
Sorry,
to,
got ahead.
Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where we started. And then I wanted to move from this collection of notes to the point where this 7 is the tonic. So I could say, like, if I think about it as the background moving, I could think about it as well, this 6 is to the left of the shape. So I could just move this back and go boom. So when I was over here,
So when I slide
this middle part of the shape on fret 5, the string at the top was nodal point 7, which normally on fret 5 would be, which is an Aeolian on fret 5, and then we go down to the D is going to be a Phrygian, and then we go down to the G, which is Aeolian, and then the C is Dorian in this collection of notes, and then it kinks backwards this way to still be in fret 5, which is 4.5 Ionian ocean in this case. Okay, and so then I want to shift the back so that it goes boom. Okay, and then I can compare that to, like, if this shifted with it, it would be back here. So
Exactly.
like that. Okay. So now on the orange shape, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is still the G here, relative position. Whereas on the red shape, this is the G. Okay, I just got confused there for a second. Oh, man. Oh, crap. Okay, so I was starting on this position where this was
Yeah.
the G. This was the G.
So that
Ara,
red, gray.
for crying out loud. Okay, so what if I moved it? So what if I want this 6 to be the 7? I could pull it down, and as I move it down, you notice the kink in the tuning as I dip it into the water is being represented here. So as I move it down, I'm going to move it down too. These two are going to move down, and they're going to be warped back or shifted back by the shape. So if I moved it down this way, it'd be like choo-choo, boom. And so now
So if
I'm in this collection of notes. Okay, so I can
Lands
do it
ri-
that way. I can do it that way. Or let's move this whole
Or-
I need to move. Ara, you are killing me.
sorry, I'll check. Okay.
Okay.
So now the 7 is on the G, and everything's shifted, right? The A is now Locrian, the D is Phrygian, G is Aeolian, C is Oionian. So now if you move your hand, you don't think where's the second, you just think where's the 1, the 7, and you know everything
now-
else by color and by shape.
Okay. So now I can move it up. So now if I wanted that
So if-
to be Locrian, I can move this down, or I can move it up. So the Locrian is here, right? The Locrian is here. So I can move it up this way and over this way, and I get to the same shape, right? And I can go do. Or I can say the Locrian is back here. So I can say the Locrian, or the Locrian's, this one is to the left, this one is below it. So if I move this one up, it would be going up and then crossing the warp. So I'd have to go all the way up and then boom. And then I get to the same shape. Okay.
Exactly. Pattern loops endlessly around itself. So once you lock in one path, the rest just pop into place. Like teleporting on a subway map. You just trace the lines.
All right. My mind is going, I'm losing it. I'm losing it, man. All right. Whatever. Let's go
Take
back.
5. So we were moving between shapes by sliding the grid, or by sliding the guitar. And the key was that no matter what direction you slide from, left, right, up, down, you end up at the exact same configuration. All 4 directions loop you back to Locrian on G. It's like 4 doors, 1 room.